Buffalo is going to win it, folks.
The Bills make it run. Kick your heels up and down.
We've seen why the Buffalo Bills are en route to the playoffs.
Come on now, the Bills are making it happen now. Stand up now, come on and shout.
The Buffalo Bills go undefeated. And we're going to the Super Bowl.
Right now, baby. Come on, come on.
No one
Come on
circles the
and
wagon
shout.
like the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
All right, we are live, and we are back. Welcome to another episode of the Overdue Bills podcast. Listen, we're excited today, man. We are truly excited. We got a special guest, guy who has been rocking with us since we started the podcast, man. That's just the facts, man. He's been rocking with us since we started the podcast. Unfortunately, we have lost every bet with him, but it's good. It's good because this is the year. This is the year where everything changes for the Bills fans. But let me introduce, our guy, your guy, Matt, aka Matty Ice. Matt, what's up, man?
Nothing much, man. It's it's a week that I know a lot of Bills fans have had circled on their calendars since the schedule came out. Chiefs fans also, NFL fans. So I'm just happy to be here to talk about it, man. I'm glad to be back.
And listen, we have a very special guest, our guy CJ, man. CJ, how's everything going for you, man?
Hey, life is good, man. How y'all doing up there in New York, man? How's life?
Oh man, I can't complain, man. Weather is it's actually been pretty good. It's kind of turning a little bit, but y'all know something about weather. Y'all got weather down there.
Yeah, we starting to get a little chill. I think we just hit like 60, 50, so we starting to get right there with you. So.
Right. We're definitely excited today. We got an action-packed show. But before we do that, Matt, please let the people know who is our presenting sponsor today.
Yes, sir. This episode and every other episode is brought to you by the good people at Buffalo Wing Kings. There's two things the guys here at the Overdue Bills podcast know. That's Bills football, and that's wings. Our first choice and the best choice is Buffalo Wing Kings. It's football season. It's Thursday night football tonight. It's not too late. You can order from Wing Kings. Definitely get yourself a nice little double, triple order, whatever, man. Get some dinner for you and the fam. Sunday, 4 o'clock kickoff. Get yourself some wings. Get pre-ordered up. Get ready to roll. Hit our guys up at Buffalo Wing Kings, or stop down and see them at 484 Elmwood Avenue, or give them a call at 716-248-1427 and find out why they say, and we know, they got the best wings in town, hands down. And make sure you mention our name, the Overdue Bills podcast. Get 10% off your order.
Absolutely. Shout out to Buffalo Wing Kings. They've been rocking with us for a long time. Please go get the wings. The game is about to start. Go get your wings right now. Hurry up. DoorDash. Call them right now. Shout out to OverdueBillsPod.com. OverdueBillsPod.com. That's where you can find all Overdue Bills content, all those amazing things, and go to Buffalo fan base. Go subscribe and like and share those things. We're on that platform as well. I told you we doing bigger and better things this year, and we moving on. But listen, let's get to the show, man. Let's get to this quick question of the day. Unfortunately, Rad could not be on, but it's me and Matt. We're going to hold it down. CJ is here. So let me ask you this, CJ. I asked this question on our Monday show. After the shellacking that we had against the Pittsburgh Steelers, I asked this: is Josh Allen better than Pat Mahomes? I'm gonna act. Listen. Everybody in the Bills fandom, everybody's not necessarily objective, but I want to ask a Kansas City Chiefs fan: this year, do you think Josh Allen has taken that step? How do you feel about that?
I think both the guys are playing extremely well this year. Absolutely. And I'm sure if you ask any fan from either fan base, they'll take their guy any day of the week, and as they should, because both guys can beat you through the air with their legs, beat you short, beat you deep. They can spin it in bad weather or good weather. So there's not really too much you could take away outside of the through the contact things that Josh can do as far as like running linebackers over as far as short yardage. That's something he's very unique of. But I think as far as like tier-wise, they're both in the same tier. They both can beat you in multiple ways. So I think you really could – it honestly could go either way. If you told me I had Josh or Pat on my team, I feel very confident in beating any defense in this league. So I think you really – it's really a toss-up because both guys are playing both guys are playing at an MVP level this year.
And Matt, obviously, we know you're going with Josh Allen.
Yeah, man. CJ gave a political answer.
I'm conflicted because I have both of my fantasy team this week, so I'm like conflicted.
It's like hedging your own bets or something.
I know, it's like I got one team, I got Pat, one team, I got Josh. I'm like, well, I want that team to do kind of good, but not too good.
Yeah, man. Well, I said it the other day. Right now, obviously Patrick Mahomes he's the guy that Josh has to beat. It's the Brady and Manning, matchup, right? And everybody always says, "Oh man, Peyton was a better quarterback, but he never beat him." You know what I'm saying? He beat him one time or two times in his career, and he just had to get over that hump. And Josh has to do that to prove that he's better, or that his to add to his legacy, I guess I would say. So I'm gonna always ride with Josh first. And that's but Pat has the resume and the wins to overshadow him right now.
I said this before. I believe I'm the only objective Bills fan out there, and the reality is that like Josh Allen hasn't beat Pat Mahomes when it mattered. Like it's just, like I can't get around that, and at the end of the day, while I do think Josh Allen is taking another leap this year, right? I do believe he's taking another leap this year. At the same time, to kind of beat the man, you have to beat the man. And until we can beat Pat Mahomes in the playoffs, when it's all for the marbles and all those things, until that point, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So I still right now, I personally, I'm a Bills fan diehard. I have Pat Mahomes is better than Josh Allen as it stands. But it remains to be seen. We'll see, come Sunday, how this kind of fares out. But I did want to shift. I want to ask real quickly, because we got to get into this injury report. CJ, is there any notable injuries for the Kansas City Chiefs?
I know we've had a lot of guys coming back that we've lost so far this year. Harrison Butker, our kicker, has been practicing yesterday and today, so that's good news. Trent McDuffie, our first-round pick at corner, has practiced this week as well, so we're happy to get those two guys back. Hopefully they keep trending in the right direction. I know Frank Clark, our DN, he's kind of missed a day or two each week. As they said, it's been illness or sicknesses. He's been dealing with it for a couple of years, so I didn't really read too much into it. I figured he's just getting his same Veterans Day off. And one of our corners, Rashard Fenton, had a hamstring injury from the Monday game versus the Raiders. But I think outside of that, and we lost Trishawn Wharton, one of our D tackles for the season in the Raiders game as well. But I think outside of that, we're getting our kicker back, our supposed to be number one corner, and one of our D ends, Mike Dana, should be back this week as well. So getting a lot of guys back, but we did lose guys for the year.
Interesting. Matt, can you please let the people know about the Buffalo Bills injury report, because it is a little tricky going on?
Yeah, so I mean, the past couple of weeks has been a laundry list. It still is a laundry list, but there's a lot more people in a limited capacity or full practice as opposed to a did not practice. Right. So that's a good sign training forward. Trey White came back to practice this week. He's obviously not going to play on Sunday. I know McDermott talked about he's on schedule to return probably. I think he has like 21 days to return before they have to put him back on another injury, but I don't think he's going to make that, because he's been a full participant, or looked like a full participant in practice. Christian Benford was practicing in a limited capacity. I don't think he's going to play on Sunday. Edmonds, Oliver, those guys were all limited and trending in the right direction. So those are guys that are going to be game time decisions, probably, just like they have been for the past. Well, not Edmonds, but Oliver. And the only person that didn't practice today was Tywan Jones, and that was from an injury he had in the last game.
Interesting. I mean, for the Bills, and pretty much besides obviously Trey White and Benford, the majority of players that we want to play will be playing. I think that Edmonds and Oliver, you just gotta suck it up. You know what I mean? Like this is the game we've all circled, like you said. So I did want to ask a question. I want to kind of deal with this kind of storylines. A couple questions here. CJ, who do you think this game matters more for? Like I get it. It's playoff implications. It's a huge game for both teams. But who does it matter more to, in your opinion?
I think you could definitely make a case, and like if you ask any fan from either fan base, they can make a storyline and answer that question objectively for you. But I'm gonna say it probably matters more to Buffalo, mainly because they're the favorite now. I think this is the first time the Chiefs have been a home underdog since Pat Mahomes has become a starter. So
insane. That's insane.
Which is crazy. So I think it definitely means matter to Buffalo for that reason. Like you said, there's the last time they were here, it didn't end so well. And obviously you're projected to be the Super Bowl favorite to win it all. So all the pressure has been put forth, and rightfully so. The roster is great. Like, you made all the additions. You added Vaughn. Trey should be coming back. Obviously, you added a lot of names like Khalil Shakir, who I loved a lot. James Cook in the draft. Y'all added a lot of good names. Kyer Elam, another guy that I liked in the draft. So you have all the bodies, all the names to be there, and you have the quarterback to get the job done. So all the pieces and all the stars are kind of aligning for Buffalo to get the job done. So I think the pressure is on you guys, but I think y'all more than ready for the moment. So it's going to be a good game, and I'm excited for the matchup.
So, Matt, how do you feel about that? Do you think it's more on us?
So I'm going to say that it might actually mean more to the Chiefs. Granted, morally, I think it means more for the Bills. But in the grand scheme of the division-wise, I think they got to keep on putting together wins because I think their division is way tougher than ours. Despite the slow start by the Raiders, the Chargers, they show up with a different team every week. Obviously, the Chiefs already beat them. And then, the Broncos, they're not the team that I thought that they would come out to be this season. But I think those other two teams, they'll end up being on the heels of the Chiefs throughout the season, whereas I think we'll be able to pull away from our division with the injuries in Miami and those guys just not getting it together. So I do think that this game is probably more important to the Chiefs in the grand scheme of things for sure. But morally, the Bills, obviously, everybody in that locker room remembers they want to come out and do some damage for sure.
Matt didn't coin it, but he coined it, at least for the Bills. The North remembers, right? The North remembers. And so I mean, but and it's funny. It's a tricky question because history would tell us that the Bills need this game more from the standpoint of we have not beaten Kansas City in the playoffs. Like when we have to go through there, it's an issue. We just haven't won. But I think that for Kansas City, it's more important because Pat Mahomes, albeit great quarterback, I just can't see him winning this year in Buffalo. If we get the 1 seed and all roads lead to Buffalo, I just it's just no way. Like, you know what I mean? I think it has to go our way at that point. But I do think this year it is interesting. I think we do have the team to be able to go into Arrowhead and even win. So me personally, like, if we lose this game, I'm not gonna say granted, if we lose by 50, it's a problem. But if we lose and it's a close game, I don't think it's going to be that big for the Bills because I think this year, out of any other year, we have the people and the players in order to go into Arrowhead late and be able to win. Like, our defensive line is ready, right? I think we can rotate bodies in there, even in the cold. Like, I think thank God for, our GM, Brandon Beane. He's built the team in order to play late into the season. So that's my opinion on it. So I guess I'm flip-floppy. It means a lot to both teams, right? Like storyline, really it means a lot to both teams for a multitude of reasons. But I really wanted to get into the Chiefs' offense quickly. I want to ask you a question. Who is the best pass catcher for the Chiefs not named Travis Kelce? Right? There's been a lot of talk. Obviously, Tyreek Hill is not there anymore. Like, that's a whole big hoopla. And you can kind of speak to that and how you feel how the offense is being running. But who do you think is the most reliable pass catcher not named Travis Kelce?
I think coming into the season, if you would have asked anyone, they probably would have expected you to say probably Juju. Yeah. I think we're 6 weeks into the season now. The past couple of weeks has been trending. It's been MVS. Marquez has played very well this year. He's coming off 2 back-to-back really good weeks. I think he had 70 yards 2 weeks ago and then 90 yards on Monday versus the Raiders. So he's been trending toward, and you knew somebody, and that's kind of the dope part about this receiver room. Granted, you don't ever want to lose a talent like Tyreek Hill because he's one of one. He's one of those guys that you just can't replace because he's a special talent and he's such a good player. And we're appreciative of everything he's done for us his 6 years here. But now the room is kind of overall, it's a better wide receiver room overall. So last year we had a really good top 2 with him and Travis. But I love the receiver room from 1 through 4 now. I didn't really like our receivers after our number 2 last year. So granted, we're not as much of a threat down the field because of Tyreek Hill's speed being gone. Now you have multiple guys you can actually depend on to make plays and beat one-on-one coverage, whether that be Marquez Valdez-Scantling, whether that be Juju Smith-Schuster, Mecole Hardman, or we have young guys like Sky Moore, Justin Watson, who we just traded for from Tampa Bay during training camp as well. Other guys that you actually have more faith in beating one-on-one. Last year, we had to deal with obviously the DeMarcus Robinsons of the world, the Byron Pringles. I wasn't really comfortable in certain situations with those leaning on those guys to make plays. Now I'm actually comfortable throwing the ball to wide receiver 2, 3, and 4. And last year we couldn't say that.
Let me ask you this quick question: is Mecole Hardman trash? Like, no, I'm being honest. What I mean by that is like, do Kansas City fans like look at him like it just didn't work out, bro? Like, you know what I mean? Like it just didn't happen. Do y'all look at him like that?
I think it's definitely a divide. You could definitely ask, if you walk down the street and ask any Chiefs fan, do they love or hate Mecole? You probably get 50 hates and 50 loves. So it's kind of like a love-hate relationship with Mecole. It's kind of the expectations of him because he was drafted, honestly, during that year when he came to the team. You know, we had the whole turmoil with Tyreek Hill off the field situation. Right. We didn't know if he was going to get suspended or not. So we needed a guy to come in and be an explosive player to take the top off the coverage. And that was going to be Mecole's role in the offense. And then thankfully, Tyreek Hill didn't get suspended. They were able to keep him on the roster. So now we have two guys that are probably two of the top 5 fastest guys in the league. So it's kind of been a up and down thing with Mecole. He does some things really, really well, which is he's great at running straight line routes, whether that be deep overs, go routes, screens, jet sweeps, anything we have to run in a straight line. He's very explosive because he's one of the fastest guys in the league. But then when you have to ask him to do certain things like catch the ball in the middle of the field, maybe take a hit, maybe contested catches, those are things he's not as strong as far as his game. So he's worked very hard to improve, but like you just said, at some point, bro, this is Mecole's 4th, 5th year. It is what it is, bro. You are who you are by now. There's not really a jump we're expecting from him. So there are certain things he can do to help this offense and still be explosive and still use that speed. But yeah, that notion or that kind of like dream of him being a wide receiver 1 or turning into that guy, or even a wide receiver 2, is kind of out of the building now because you've been here this long. It hasn't really turned out. He has a small role in this offense. And for my goal for him is to be great at your role. They're going to ask you to do these 2 or 3 things and just be great at those 2 or 3 things they ask you to do.
So Matt, who do you fear? Like when you look at the Chiefs offense now, right, without Tyreek Hill, and granted, in that playoff game, Tyreek Hill was a problem. Like he was a legit problem. He was a factor. He was one of the reasons why we lost that game. So like now looking at the Chiefs offense, like what are you saying? Like with the defense that you've seen the Bills display this year, taking the next step, how do you feel about the Chiefs offense, and what do you think we're going to do to kind of combat that?
Well, I think it's a recipe, the defensive line. It's always been the story with us, I guess, when we played Patrick Mahomes. The one game that we beat him, we actually had the formula. We got home, right? We got to Patrick Mahomes. We had some sacks. We forced some turnovers, and that's the recipe for the win. So when you give them a chance to run around and let those guys, run. Obviously, they had Tyreek Hill, but you let guys like Travis Kelce get any more than 5-6 seconds to get open, it's all day. He's shown it time and time again. So I mean, I definitely still fear Travis Kelce in that offense because we haven't been able to stop him in any of the meetings that we've played against them. He dominated us in the playoffs, dominated us in pretty much every matchup that we've had so far. So that's the biggest fear for me, and we definitely with our revamped defensive line and the addition of Von Miller, we got to get home. That's kind of what the Raiders did in the first half of that Monday night game, and then they didn't too much of it after that. But yeah, we definitely got to do that.
So do you think CJ, right? Do you think y'all are more one-dimensional with the lesser receiving core? And I only ask that because for whatever reason, I don't know what's going on with the running back situation, right? Like, and it's crazy because I guess this may be selfish. I have CH in one of my fantasy leagues, and for the first 4 weeks, like, I'm like,
he was eating.
Yeah, like he's scoring, like he was getting a lot of passing work, stuff like that. He was being featured. Exactly. But now I don't know what's going on. Sometimes McKinnon, Pacheco, it's just all over the place. So did Andy Reid it's kind of insane because Andy Reid is actually known for running the ball. Like he's known for having a good, you know what I'm saying? Like he could just make a runner out of anybody, historically at least. But now, like, is CH that bad? Is it your offensive line? Have y'all just abandoned the run completely? It's like, okay, Patrick Mahomes, you just got to do it.
At this point, coming into the season, we kind of knew like this is going to be a committee group because there's not really one guy to like take the bell cow. And I've always been of the mindset of I love having that one elite running back. That's really good. But if that guy goes down, so I'm sure you probably could attest to this. If that guy goes down, who's up next?
Right.
And then you're kind of like, well, you aren't used to playing that much. So now you're kind of finding spot duty, mop up duty, grabbing guys off practice squad or off the waiver wire, trying to find guys. Now you don't know who's going to be the guy. So I think having 3 or 4 guys you can depend on is better for me for the long run because it's a long season, 17 games. And you want to get to that bowl, so that's another 4 games. So I would rather have 3 to 4 guys to depend on, whether it be Clyde, Pacheco, whether it be Jared McKinnon, because now everyone's fresh, they're motivated. And you can kind of tell in that Buffalo game when we ran for almost 200 yards, and that was essentially at the time the best run defense in the league. That showed me that, hey, we can run the ball when we want to. Because coming into that game, that was my goal for us to come in there, establish the run, show we can be physical. Because when you run the football and you have a great quarterback, it's kind of like pick your poison. What are you going to do? Are you going to put 8, 7 in the box? Are you going to rush 3 and drop 8? Or what do you want to really want? Do you want to put pressure on the quarterback, play man, play more zone? It's kind of like you're kind of playing on your heels as a defense. And as a D coordinator, you don't know really how to call the game because if they're getting 4 or 5 yards of pop when they're running the ball, it's hard to stop. So that's one of the things that I was definitely looking forward to this week to see how do we want to commit to that run game. Because when we do that, our offense is very hard to stop.
Interesting. So let's get into the game because I like the over-under is very high. Right, you know what I'm saying, but I
think it's at 54.
Yeah, and it might be climbing.
It might be.
I want to know because in a playoff game, the game actually started slow. Mike just rewatched it. Mike was talking about it in the group chat. Mike rewatched it, and he's like, "Yo, I didn't remember any of this." You know what I mean? In the first half, because it's like the game was actually very, very slow. Really, nothing was going on. It was a lot of punts. You know, very uncharacteristic for both teams. So, do you think that the hype of this game, even though we have in the Buffalo Bills, we score pretty much on every first drive. Like I think we're probably number 1, I think, in the league, and I think the Chiefs is right behind us. Right on every first drive, it seems like we score. But do you think that it's going to be like a slow beginning of the game? See, like, how do you feel about that?
I mean, thankfully, there isn't going to be any weather involved, so you always want to see a clean game, like no field conditions or wind or anything. So it should be good weather that day. I think both defenses are kind of hearing all the noise, right, about all the quarterbacks and all the weapons and all the points they can put up. Like you said, 1 and 2 in scoring, 1 and 2 in touchdowns. So as a defensive player, it kind of pisses you off. Like, all right, we know you have Pat Mahomes, we know you have Josh Allen, but we have players over here too. So it kind of goes in like usually the games where like sound like you like really get really hyped. It doesn't really live up to the hype as far as like the scoring wise. But like the second half, you know, it's going to be magical, regardless of what the score is, regardless of how guys are playing. You just want to say, all right, who has the ball at their hands at the end of the game? You know it's going to be something magical to happen because both guys are known for making crazy plays with their arm and their leg. So it may start off a little slow just because these teams, they know each other so well. They play each other essentially so much. And we're not even in the same division, but we play you guys almost every year. Twice a year.
No, literally.
So
it's crazy.
like Les Frazier knows Andy Reid. We know Les Frazier. You guys know us. So it's going to be a great matchup between the two to see how the guys match up. I expect it could start off slow just because these guys know each other so well, and there's really nothing really new you can show them. But it's about execution. So how do you guys execute at the end of the day? I expect the second half to be the higher scoring half, obviously, because after halftime, adjustments are made and that kind of sort of thing.
So Matt, do you think that is this a situation where the under is at play? You don't have to give your score prediction. I'm just saying, do you think that the game can lead towards a under type of vibe, just from the standpoint of we know each other? Right, we literally play each other. Like we just looked at we looked on the website. It's like we play the Chiefs next year in Arrowhead. Like I don't understand how they come up with this stuff. but like, how do you feel about that, Matt? Do you think the over is kind of a little juicy?
Nah, you know what? I think that I think both teams are gonna give the fans what they want. It's gonna be a high scoring, entertaining from whistle to whistle. I know they put out this stat, the Bills defense has been dominant, especially in the second half. CJ mentioned the adjustments. Leslie Frazier, whatever adjustments he's making, they've only given up 7 points so far this season in the second half.
That's crazy.
That is incredible. Yeah, but I think they're going to be able to score, in both halves of the game. I'm not going to say we're going to shut down the Chiefs offense for, 4 quarters. That's just unrealistic for me right now. Even with how well our defense is doing. We had the number 1 defense last year, and we gave up all those points. So it's not really, feasible to say that we're going to come in and do that. But yeah, I don't think that the under is going to be in play. I do think it's going to be a game where we do go over. I think it's going to be a nice little, because if you think about it, what is it, 54 right now? I think both teams can put up 28 points each. That's very easy for me to say right now.
Well, yes.
You know,
So
20.
how do you
Yeah.
how do you think the Bills will put up the 28 or however many points you feel like? Obviously, Gabe Davis had a coming out party, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like literally, he had a coming out party in the playoffs. It was insane. Do you think this is a Gabe Davis game? Because obviously Gabe Davis just had a crazy game last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers, but they suck. But so like who if I could ask you this question, like the Bills win, say the Bills win, Matt. Who has the game? Like who game is it? Like what's the person we're saying this is like this guy had the breakout. This guy is the one, but obviously besides Josh Allen.
Well, I don't even know if I say it's a breakout, but it's Diggs all year long. I mean, he's come out with a chip on his shoulder all season long. He's taken on the role of I'm the number one. You can you can throw me the ball. He says it all the time. Josh just tells me to go get open and catch the ball, and Josh finds him. You know what I mean? So he'll get a bunch of targets, and he can very easily put up a double-digit catch game in any game that it seems like he wants to. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't say it's a breakout, but he's a guy that can control the game for sure from a wide receiver standpoint.
That's interesting because one of the reasons I think that the Bills, even though 13 seconds or less, whatever, I was highly disappointed in Stephon Diggs in the playoffs because he did absolutely nothing. But I wanted to ask you, CJ, because you're an X's and O's guy. You're a football guy. Can you speak to what the Chiefs did in the playoffs to stop Diggs? Was it like a bracketing, or did they you know what I'm saying? For the common fan, can you kind of tell us can you get some insight into X's and O's, because maybe we will see that, you know what I mean, come Sunday, and that's something for us to look for. Was it planned for that to happen and kind of leave Gabe Davis on a one-on-one? Can you tell us?
I mean, that coming into that week, I think from what I saw on film, I remember there in that season, we had obviously a lot of different corners than what we do now. We had Mike Hughes at the time, Charvarius Ward, two guys that aren't on our roster. And coming into that game, my goal was for us to say, hey, let's keep one of our starting corners on, our number one corner on Diggs, keep his safety over the top. And then we're going to just kind of bracket and play off of Gabe Davis and make him try to beat us underneath, because we know he's not to say he can run shorter routes, but his specialty is beating you over the top as far as like deep routes, posts, and double moves. And that's what he's really good at, because he's explosive. He's a tall guy. He's physical. He has good hands. So that's where he usually can beat you. So coming into that matchup, and then when Tyrann Mathieu went down, I really got scared, because I'm like, all right, I don't know what other safety we're going to put back there, because we had Dan Sorensen, who's a cuss word around here. We can't say his name in the city no more. So thankfully he's not here anymore. So you can't use that excuse anymore. So, but no, once he went down, it was like we weren't that deep in our secondary last year at the time. So we were missing a lot of bodies, a lot of capable guys who could run with Gabe Davis. And there weren't too many guys we had on the roster that can run with him now. And Gabe is, like Matt said, still showing he's still one of the most explosive guys in the league. So he looked good on Sunday versus Pittsburgh. So you definitely got to keep your safety back over the top of him. And Diggs isn't no slouch either, because he can beat you deep as well. He's kind of the guy that can run any route, whether it be slant, comeback, double move, short. He can do it all. He's one of the best guys in the league. He's top 5 to me for a reason. And I think he's pretty much proven that the last couple of years he's been in Buffalo. So it's a tough matchup. It's going to be a tough day. You probably want to come into the game. I probably would say, I expect both DB or DCs to play more zone and to make you beat you underneath. Like, we both know these offenses can score 30 plus with the best of them. So if I'm either one of these DCs, Spagnuolo or Frazier, I'm going to say, hey, you're going to have to prove to me you can run the football. That's what I would do coming into the game. And then obviously, when you get into the green zone, to the red zone, you kind of tighten up, play a little more man, maybe blitz a little bit. But I expect both DCs to be a little more relaxed and kind of trust their front fours to get pressure, like I'm sure you guys have been doing all year, because you guys have been good as far as like Russo and Vaughn and all the guys, and Ed as well. So you guys can get pressure. So it's going to be a good test for each team's O-line for sure.
Interesting. I can't wait for the game, right? Because, and the thing is, we know each other so well, you know what I mean? Even though there may be a few different characters, as of, Sunday, but at the same time, it's like, we've seen this story before, right? And it's like, I know it's going to be something. It's going to be a crazy game. The kind of blood is going to be flowing and rushing. But I did want to ask this. Is this rivalry as advertised, right? Because there's been a lot of hoopla. Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Bills, Chiefs, right? Do y'all think this is as advertised? And will it kind of go into that Brady, Manning type of, you know what I'm saying? Because that realistically, that's the only rivalry in the last 20, 25 years. Like a real rivalry where they played consistently all the time in the AFC Championship game or divisional rounds. They always saw each other. They hated each other. It was, you know what I'm saying? Do you think, Matt, do you think that this rivalry is as advertised, right? We're getting our money's worth.
Absolutely. I mean, it's going to be the matchup for the next decade, right? I know we talked about that last year. And yeah, it has shown so far, it hasn't missed so far. The only bad part is that, Josh has lost more times than he's won, at least on our end. That's the bad part. But yeah, it's definitely living up to that Brady, Manning, those years, because one has to go through the other to get to the Super Bowl. And that's kind of how it's going to be set up, I think.
Do you feel the same way?
No, I agree with everything Matt said. These are the two guys that's two best quarterbacks in the league. They're both in their prime. They're both young, both under the age of 27. So when you have these two guys in their prime and they both have all the weapons they could want, both teams are set up for success as far as both sides of the ball. Both teams have great GMs as well, which I know you made that point earlier, Sam, is they know what the standard is. The standard is to beat each other. And these teams are always going back and forth, adding pieces, adding parts to the roster to see, all right, how can we get an advantage at this point in the game, whether it be secondary play. You guys have added pass rushers. We tried to add more linemen. We tried to add more linebackers to cover speed, because I'm kind of upset we don't have Willie Gay this week. This is a big week. I would like to have Willie because he's one of our most explosive linebackers, and you guys have Josh Allen, who's one of them, if not the best running quarterback in football right now, probably outside of him and Jalen Hurts. I don't think two other guys can run the ball better than them right now. So,
Lamar
and Lamar as well. Yeah, Lamar, Jalen, Kyler, all those guys. When they run the football, they're hard guys to get on the ground because Josh is a big dude, man. He's 6'5", 250, so he's a big boy. So we have some other linebackers like Darius Harris who are going to step up to the plate and try to do their best to hold the fort down. But Josh is just an elite player, man. Like you just said, there's no stopping him or Mahomes. They're just great players. They're going to get there. If you just try to make sure you limit them and not give up the easy play, make them work for it. Rather have 10, 11 play drive than rather be like a 4 to 5 play drive. But I expect these guys to be matching up like Matt said for years to come. These are the games everyone lives for. You live for the names when you see the big names come in town. So I'm very shocked that we got you guys again at home next year. But I mean, the NFL, I guess they like coming there. I thought for sure we'd be at Buffalo. We haven't played you guys since like 2020. Last time there.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought for sure we would go. I thought flip flop. I thought it was 2-2.
I thought so too. Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Like,
that's crazy.
I don't get it.
That's crazy. That's my first time hearing that. I didn't look at the schedule next year. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I know, like a fan, guest to the show, our guy LaShawn or Warlock on Twitter. He goes to like almost every away game. He probably knows Kansas City better than most people in Kansas City because he goes there every year, twice a year for the Bills games. It's crazy.
Nice.
It is.
Yeah, tell him to hit me up. I'll be out there, so I'm gonna have to meet him at the game.
Oh yeah, no, he'll be up there, and he does like he'll be bringing some Bills fans with him. He does it every week, man. He just goes by himself and buys random tickets and brings people with him. He's a good dude, man.
That's what's up, man. That's love.
Yeah. So let's do this. Let's go to game predictions, man. I want to know. I'm interested. CJ, what do you have?
I think on my podcast on Tuesday, I was going back and forth, but I think I finally come to the decision of I would definitely take the over, like Matt said, on that 54. I think it may actually go up, honestly. So if you are going to bet it, I would get it in before it gets to the weekend. And I think I had the Chiefs winning. I had 28-27 with a game winner from Harrison Butker in his first game back.
Oh my God, that's just like my stomach dropped.
I mean, he lives for these moments. So, and this is his first game back. So,
okay,
but no better time to make an impact than right now. So,
all right, Matt, what's up?
No, man, I'm gonna go 38-21 in a similar fashion. We're gonna win on a last second field goal. My man Tyler Bass.
38-21 or
31-28. I'm sorry.
Okay.
A little dyslexic there. My bad.
What's funny is, listen, no disrespect to the Chiefs, I think we're gonna beat them by 2 touchdowns. I do. I not because the Chiefs are bad, but I think the Chiefs are trying to work out some things. And I think that what I've seen, even though obviously, Derek Carr, Raiders, they're a divisional opponent. Obviously, you know each other. It's always some type of game. But I think what I've seen from the Chiefs, I think we can do something with. I honestly believe that in my heart of hearts. I mean, Kelsey, I think we can give him his 76, 86 yards, whatever. Kudos to him. But I think in the red zone, we're going to tidy up on him, bracket him, and just see if Marcus Valdez-Scantling, let's see if Juju Smith-Schuster can play football. And I think we're going to see that they're going to, like MVS drops balls, and that, like, we're going to see that. You know what I'm saying? I think that Patrick Mahomes will make some uncharacteristic throws. And he gonna get a little loosey goosey and turn over the ball. I don't know why. Maybe call me a homer, and I'm very, very, very objective when it comes to this stuff. But I think this is our game. I think this is our year, and don't be surprised, man. I see like a either way though. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I don't think this is gonna be like a close game down to the wire. I think it's gonna be an either way. Pack it up, let's go home. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get our hopes up, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be like a crazy, crazy back and forth game. But that remains to be seen. But I did want to ask you real quickly, CJ. Is there somebody on the defense? I know you talked about the guy Harris that we don't necessarily know about, somebody new, you know what I'm saying, that's kind of stepping up this year.
Yeah, we have a lot of new guys on this defense. Right. We added some of our rookies like George Karlaftis, one of our defensive ends we drafted this year. Trent McDuffie, our corner that we drafted in the first round. But I think a guy that people probably don't hear too much about, I think they're probably going to know the name probably before, I would say not before the end of the game, but towards the end of the game, one of our younger DBs, we have Jalen Watson and Josh Williams. I expect you guys to target them a lot. I think probably this week when we get Trent McDuffie back, which is going to help them slide over to that second and third cornerback role, I think that'll help those guys play better. So I think they've been kind of asked to do more than they're expected with Trent being out the past 3 weeks. But I think when we get our depth and we have our full slate of corners, I think it'll be a better matchup, which is still going to be a tough task when you got to cover guys like Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis. And I know James Crowder is out for a while in IR. Is Khalil Shakir and Isaiah McKenzie, those guys still on lock to play this week?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, yeah, Isaiah McKenzie, yeah, he should play. He's trending. He should play.
Dawson Knox, everybody really. So the whole crew gonna be there.
Whoa.
Well, Dawson, you know what? I didn't bring up Dawson Knox in the injury report. He didn't fall in the injury report this week, but he was out last week. So yeah. I don't know if he's going to be in. So, but
we got this kid Morris.
I mean, I was going to say that we're going to go to a player that, you know, from the Bills that Kansas City fans, you know, he kind of gets lost in the sauce of you know, that crazy wide receiver room, and then a Dawson Knox and Quentin Morris. He's slowly turning into a trusty target for Josh Allen in Dawson Knox's absence. I mean, he got 5 targets last week, which is just as many as Gabe got, except for Gabe caught 3 balls for 171 and 2 touchdowns. No big deal or nothing. But Quentin Morris, he's definitely getting some looks out there, and he's a fast tight end who's getting better at blocking every week, and he definitely is getting some love. So he's a guy you may see out there in that heavy room of wide receivers. He might be able to sneak out and catch a couple balls on Sunday from Josh.
Let's do it, man. I'm ready.
And you speak about Khalil Shakir, man. I think the guy's big for the moment. Like, he has that type of air about him. Like, he's just big for the moment. Like, he wants that, whatever it is, third down, we need this conversion. He just, like, he strikes me as that type of guy. And given the opportunity, I think he's gonna, like, he's a name. Even though he's getting buzz, he's going to be a household name, right? I like, he's that talented, and he's just ready. So I'm anticipating this game. I honestly can't wait, man. This gonna be, and I honestly don't understand why they keep giving us these games and it's not prime time. I really can't understand it.
You guys not giving up that slot, bro. Once they figured that out, I was gonna say the same thing about us. We got a young guy named Sky Moore, who a lot of people liked in the draft. I'm excited for him to finally have his breakout game. I thought it would have been on Monday, and I think this week could be the week with you guys dealing with all the injuries, so he could burst out. But CBS, I think Tony Romo's calling the game. Him. And Nancy, they're not giving this game up, bro. Once you figure that game on the schedule, that's locked in, dog.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that, and then you got your Cowboys, Eagles. Your Cowboys they're gonna end up on Sunday night because Jerry's gonna make that happen.
Jerry won't that one.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I don't listen. For the life of me, I just can't understand certain things, and this is just one of them.
I feel you, bro. I feel you, bro.
I mean, just like knowing they knew that they were gonna put us together, right? So if you know Bills,
why not make it prime time?
You have to make it prime time, like just from the jump. But whatever, it is what it is, man. I ain't gonna trip. I'm over it. But with that being said, Matt, oh yeah, let the people know about the contest.
Yeah, so we're doing the same contest this week, but we're switching up the tiebreakers a little bit. It's our score prediction contest sponsored by the good people at Buffalo Wing Kings. Predict your score. You can choose any one of our scores or go with your own. Pick your score, and as a tiebreaker, we're gonna do Stephon Diggs' yardage and catches this week to to weed out any, because we actually haven't had anybody predict the score correctly yet, so nobody wants to win that. If you do, predict the correct score, you get an extra $30 from Mills on top of the $30 gift card that Wing Kings is going to provide. So that's $60 if you predict that score correctly. So definitely get in. You have until 4:00 we'll go to 4:15 on Sunday. It's a 4:25 kickoff. We're going to close that contest. So get your predictions in, and good luck.
Absolutely. Please get your predictions in right now. A lot of people hit me up. How do I enter? You just heard it. We're going to post it. So do that right now. Listen, big shout out to our guy, CJ. Been down. I don't know what the bet is. We got to ask Mills. Mills the one with the money. Mills the one with everything. So Mills.
Mills the one with the money.
Yeah, Mills got all the bread. So Mills, please, if you come up with something.
I got you.
Listen, we got to do. Listen, we got to win something, y'all. We keep losing every bet. But definitely appreciate you, man. And let the people know where they can find you, man.
No, I appreciate y'all always having me on. Y'all know we've been down since day. It's crazy how fast we've been doing this for like 3 years,
Right.
4 years, bro. It's been flying by. So, no, everybody can find me on Twitter at CGZ81. That's CJEEZY81. I'm always down to talk football, X's and O's, bets, fantasy, anything. I'm always open to talk.
Listen, CJ is a great follow on Twitter. And he messes with the man above. You know what I mean? It just warms my heart. Absolutely.
Yes,
like when I follow, I'm like, man, CJ a good dude, man. I'm looking at this.
Sir.
So shout out to him. And listen, shout out to all y'all. Y'all know we love y'all, man. Appreciate y'all. Like and share, rate and review. Listen, on Sunday, I think at 11, I believe, Mike is going live on our Instagram page. We got some guests coming on talking about the game. Game is at 4:00 start. So please be on. Shout out to our guy, Mike D. And I think that's all we got. So yeah, let's end the show. You know how we end it, with a little bit of hey.
Hey.